All right, let's talk even more about the Lions-Cowboys controversy. It was over, it was done, we were all ready to move on with our lives, except for the NFL, who kind of doubled down a little bit here, wanted to make it clear that, I don't know, it was just a weird situation. So let's get into it. Of course, if you have forgotten, there was a controversial call at the end of the Monday Night Football special edition. Don't know why they do that, but, the game that was on Saturday, whatever you want to call it. Taylor Decker, did he report eligible? Did he not report eligible? Seemed like the consensus was he did what he could to report eligible and the ref screwed it up. But the NFL sent out a memo. It was one of these infomercial type things. If you've ever worked a retail job or a fast food job, you've probably seen, plenty of these before. I've actually seen a lot of these types of NFL rule things because just doing my job, making sure I do the proper research. When there's a rather obscure call, I'll watch these things. They are usually pretty informative. But right off the bat, there's the obvious question of, well, why are you sending this out? Are you blaming the Lions for doing this? And it seems like the answer is yes, because the footage they use in this was of that play. I'm going to start off by showing an 18-second clip. Just want you to listen to what they're going to say here.
It is the responsibility of the player to be sure that change in status is clearly communicated to the referee by both a physical signal with his hands up and down in front of his chest and to report to the referee his intention to report as an eligible receiver.
So yeah, just hearing that, it feels rather blamey on the Lions, right? Feels like they're saying, hey, listen, it's not our responsibility to make sure that you're reported eligible. You got to make that abundantly clear to us. And to some degree, that's true. At the end of the day, it is the offense's responsibility to make sure that they are reported eligible. But I actually think about the phrasing that was used in that video. It's the offense's responsibility to clearly communicate to the ref who is eligible. In my opinion, the Lions did do that. They made a clear effort to report, to show who was reported eligible. You can't force information into someone else's brain. At the end of the day, communication is a two-way street, and if the other, if the ref in this scenario isn't paying attention to you, there's only so much you can do. You can't grab him and shout in his ear, "I'm reporting eligible." Also, you look at, this is when the NFL themselves paused the video. You see Decker is pointing towards his jersey. It's not a long point. I saw some people posting the screenshot on Twitter. He kind of takes his hand away right after, so doesn't do it for a while, but does point to his jersey the way you're supposed to do it. So the fact that the NFL, listen, I totally get it. If you're the NFL and you say, hey, maybe the Lions could have done some small things to make it easier on the ref, so we're going to make a video just to make it clear. Usually these kind of memos do come out when there's a controversy like this. Sure, I get it. But the way it is phrased very much feels like they're blaming the Lions for this fiasco. I think you can make an argument it's both the Lions and the ref's fault. I don't think you can make an argument it's only the Lions' fault. And to me, my argument is still the Lions did pretty much everything reasonable here, and the refs screwed it up. And also, it is worth mentioning, the crew has been taken off the playoffs. They have been, what's considered downgraded, or at least they're expected to be downgraded. It hasn't been officially announced, but Schefter reported that they're expected to be downgraded. So it does seem like the NFL is still punishing the crew, and they still don't want that scenario. Maybe it's just, hey, you get into controversy late in the season. Even if we don't think it's your fault, we're going to do that. But I wouldn't think that they would do that. I think they would just put the refs there. And to me, what I just find frustrating about this whole situation isn't the bad call itself. Bad calls happen, mistakes happen. If the ref came out and said, you know what, 70 had reported eligible in previous plays, I saw it happening, I assumed that's what was happening here, I wasn't paying close enough attention, I screwed up, I apologize. I think most people would say, okay, that's annoying, but mistakes do happen. Who hasn't done something like that at their job at some point, right? Also, it is worth mentioning that, this didn't end the game, right? The Lions could have kicked the extra point and gone into overtime if they wanted to. And plus, there's not one bad call in a vacuum, right? The Cowboys had a call go against them, a tripping penalty that really, if anything, should have been a tripping penalty on the Lions. That kind of prevented them from running out the clock. Kind of reminds me a bit of if you remember the famous Saints-Rams, that blown call. There was actually a missed face mask that would have helped the Rams and would have allowed the Rams to get a 1st and goal. Instead, they settled for a field goal, but that was earlier in the game, so everyone remembers the no call on the pass interference. Those things like that happen. But it's the sort of doubling down and almost acting as if it was all the Lions' fault, which to me would be blood boiling if I was a Lions player. That's what I just find personally frustrating. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.